adventure, sports, outdoors. With host Harry Canterbury.
There I was, back in the wild again, and I felt right at home where I belong. I had that feeling coming over me again, just like it happened so many times before. Yeah.
Adventure Sports Outdoors, brought to you in part by Corsaw Lumber, manufacturers of quality hardwood products, buyers of standing timber in Smithfield. Central Pool Supply, everything from pools to pool tables and much more in Peoria on West Pioneer Parkway. Michael O'Brien Commercial Real Estate and Recreational Ground, Remax Unlimited Commercial. Kelleher's Irish Pub and Eatery, located on Peoria's riverfront, open 11 a.m. daily. And by Allwyn & Sons Meat Company. Our thanks to all of these sponsors.
Hi, Harry Canterbury with another edition of Adventure Sports Outdoors. I'm here with a couple of guys here that you can have a lot of fun with. Tom Long from Jacksonville, Florida, and Bwana, that's right, Bwana Pete Wrestler, and he's from Bismarck, North Dakota. A guy from one end of the United States and a guy from the other end of the United States. Interesting fellas, and they have got a story to tell. First of all, we're going to talk a little bit about what we did today, and it was the most miserable duck hunting season that I've ever experienced, at least in my memory. I'm sure I've had other bad experiences, but it was like 20 degrees. Everything was froze. We had to break ice. We never saw a duck, and our decoys were frozen. But you know what? We're sitting there laughing about it. It was fun. We enjoyed it. And how you can say you can enjoy something like that, I have no idea. But we had a good time. You know, my dad told me when I was a kid he should have bought me a set of golf clubs instead of a shotgun, and this is why. It's about 22 degrees out here, blowing about 10, 12 miles an hour. We've got ice. It's just cold, and this is a weather phenomenon because this is the 13th of November. We've been froze out since this morning. This is one of the coldest, earliest freeze-outs that I can ever possibly remember. And the extended forecast right now is going to be for another 2 weeks. This is going to go down, guys and gals, for you girls that hunt, one of the worst duck seasons this area has ever seen. We may get a thaw out in the next couple weeks, but you know, even if it gets up to 50 degrees, this ice is going to be 3 inches thick, and it'll take a week for it to get out. So unfortunately, and I hate to say this because I try to be optimistic about everything I do, I think this is the end of the season for 2014 in Central Illinois. I think we're finished. There's a good possibility that you could shoot some ducks at some places where there's open water, like a hot water impoundment, Powerton, or close to a hot water impoundment. But I'm telling you what, folks, this is the coldest, nastiest, craziest weather I've ever experienced. But being duck hunters, hey, if you don't go, you don't know.
Do this all dadgum day, but it is brutal all over. I guarantee it's going to get worse as the day goes on. And tomorrow, you could probably walk across this lake. Yeah, it's going to be tough. Look, it's just hard to believe this early in the season up here.
Done.
You're done. You're going to be locked up in ice for two weeks, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Nope.
But crazy. It's just part of duck hunting, though. You got to love it.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
He likes it. Teddy, do you like duck hunting? Teddy bear? Is it cold? Are you a cold boy? And we've got Pete, Bismarck Pete. Tell us about Bismarck, Pete.
Oh, it's a great town. 60,000 people. You're 40 miles in any direction from all the hunting, fishing that you ever wanted.
Yeah. What's the winters like up there? Real pleasant, aren't they?
Oh, on a nice day we'll get 25 below. You know, so it's up to that on a good day. Really,
Didn't you tell me? Didn't you tell me your grandparents were on a horse and buggy? Horse died, and that's why they ended up there, right?
So they ended up in North Dakota. I think they were heading to Montana or Idaho, but the horse died, so that's where they ended up spending the winter, and then they just said, hey, go stay here. It's not that bad.
Were they very smart people?
They're pretty die-hard people, but never gave them a lot of credit.
They're too smart.
How do you think I feel right now? I come 1,000 miles up here to be turned into a popsicle.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible.
My wife texted me and said, oh, it's 82 degrees today.
That's why you live in Florida.
For getting me down here, inviting me down here. It really makes me appreciate what I got back home.
Well, Pete's my old duck hunting and snow goose guy up there. We had a lot of fun. You know what? In all the times I hunted up there, I don't think it was ever this cold.
No, we never had this.
No.
Of course, we come up a little earlier in the season, but
you see that?
We'd have our days, you know, where it got a little chilly. But we were all field hunting, so we didn't have to put up with this ice.
And we didn't have to ride in 3 boats. And
No.
Right
Just drive out to the car, and you walk 12 feet to your decoy spread. And that
that was it. Yeah. Had to put out a lot of decoys. My God, what did we put out?
We did. We actually, when I took 4 hunters out, it would take the 5 of us about an hour and a half. Decoy spread out.
Hey, Pete, look out here. Our tracks are even frozen, and it hadn't been 5 minutes since we came across from the point over there.
Well, I hate to admit it, but this is my fault, guys. When I left Bismarck, it was about 15 degrees. We had 3 inches of snow, and they forecasted it getting a little colder. I thought I'd come down here and get away from it, but it followed me. So all of this is my fault. What can I say?
Well, I tell you what, it is brutal out here right now. The snow's just coming down, and I've never seen anything quite like this. Yesterday, we hunted that same point, wide open. We left, you know, last night was cold, but I didn't realize it was that cold.
I didn't either. I was just shocked when I got out here and seen this much ice.
And then we got out there, and the decoys are all frozen in, weighing 30 pounds apiece.
Hi, I'm Nathan Kuzinoff. They call me Kuzi. I'm on the Fowl Foolers Pro staff, and I'd like to introduce to you the new short reed goose call that'll be coming to you soon. We've been out here hunting in 20-degree weather all day today, and she's iced up pretty bad, but she still blows.
And we're here to talk about Tom Long's book, Spent Shells Along the Atlantic. And of course, we're here in Central Illinois, and Central Illinois is well known for duck hunting. And most people from Central Illinois, a few, but not many, have ever hunted in Maryland or North Carolina or New York or New Jersey. But Tom's passion for waterfowling led to this wonderful publication, and it's Spent Shells Along the Atlantic. Everything from Maine all the way to Florida. Tom, tell us how you got interested in doing this book.
My mother, my father, and my brother, we were a close, tight-knit family, and we all duck hunted, shot rifles, pistols, shotguns together, and it basically was a family sport, and it just carried on. It gets in your blood, you can't get rid of it.
I know. You don't need to explain that to me, but some people want to know why we're crazy, why we like going out in this cold weather and weathering the elements and doing what we do. It's hard to explain because people say duck hunters are all crazy, and I have to go along with them.
Well, I sum it up this way. It's the only sport I know that grown men can put on a party dress and go play with their toys and freezing cold weather, busting ice, mayonnaise freezing on sandwiches, come home every time without anything in the bag and still have a great time.
Yeah.
It is truly a passion, and for the true waterfowler as you are, it is something you never shake. Yeah. I'll just put it that way.
No, you never do. Even if you quit the sport, it always stays with you forever.
Forever.
You know. In this book that you wrote, you covered a lot of ground. You went to a lot of places. How long did it take you to write this book?
Wow. I'm trying to keep this short because I started collecting memorabilia, stories.
When you were a kid?
When I was a kid. And as time went on, I graduated from college, then I had to go get a real job like everybody, make a living. But I would travel around the country and hunt and shoot and everything. About probably 20 years of thinking about it, and actually 10 years to really put the book together.
10 years.
Yes, sir.
It's an extensive book. I mean, it covers a lot of ground. You went into the history of the decoy carvers, the call makers, the pushers. And a pusher, of course, is a person who takes care of the member.
Correct.
You know, picks up his ducks and gets his everything ready. You know, he's just kind of a hired hand, but we call them pushers. And you've gone from virtually every aspect of the hunting scene up and down the Atlantic coast, and you really compiled a great book.
Well, thank you. You know, I'm always humbled when anybody mentions you know how great things are. I'm not that type of guy. I'm just a duck hunter, basically just a normal guy.
Yeah.
I was privileged though to be in a situation with adults growing up, and to meet a lot of people that normally you wouldn't have a chance to meet. Club owners, guides, just normal everyday people.
You hunted in Arkansas, you've done some hunting along the Mississippi, you've been in the Dakotas, you've been, of course, here in Central Illinois. You've hunted before in Central Illinois, down south there a little ways. So you've got a taste of how it is here. Do you see a total comparison? I mean, are we the same, or is there a difference?
The major difference, I think, between the Atlantic Flyway and the Central Flyway is this. The Atlantic Flyway invented the decoy, and y'all invented the call. And the two ended up merging, and basically they just swapped places. Mm-hmm. You've want evidence of this, take a look at a New Jersey decoy, like a Cobb or whatever, and then take a look at a Purdue, for instance. The shapes are the same, predominantly. Mm-hmm. The difference is the weighting on the bottom. They use a teardrop shot, and the Purdue uses a long strip. Mm-hmm. Coloration, painting is different. Now, if you take this one step further and take your call evolving to the East Coast, for instance, totally different. Ours is a little more raspy and grunting type, whereas the Illinois call, as I call it, was sharper, higher pitched tones originally.
Well, our call companies, we've got numerous ones here in Central Illinois, but the oldest is the old Olt company in Pekin, which started around the turn of the century and is still continuing on under a different name now. But Olt, when I was a kid, everybody used an Olt call.
We all had one.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
I go to England, they use an Olt call. Did you guys use an Olt call in Bismarck?
That too, yep.
Same thing?
Same thing, that, and there was a couple other ones, but everybody had an Olt.
Yeah. Hey, while we got Pete here on the line, you about froze to death too. It was cold, it was miserable. Our decoys, when we picked them up, weighed anywhere from 25 to 30 pounds, and you told me that the decoys in North Dakota aren't as big.
Oh, they weigh a lot less because we don't normally put 15 pounds of ice around our decoys, like you have out here.
Yeah. But we had a lot of fun out there, but man, was it cold. It was the most bitterly cold weather I think I've ever experienced in a long time. I've done it before, but can't remember when.
part of this book, which makes it a little bit unique, is I had the privilege of hunting in every state all the way up the Atlantic. And I tried to cover the history, the old clubs. I collected the old photos that had never been published. I had the privilege of hunting plantations in South Carolina, hunting the old duck clubs at Currituck, hunting estates, I guess is the best way of putting it, on Long Island. And I met a lot of nice gentlemen and ladies along my travels. Some were rich, some were poor, but they were duck hunters, and we just had a great, great time.
One of the clubs that I read about is the club that was at Cape Canaveral, which is probably one of the most interesting, and it was founded by some Harvard University graduates of the class of 1890.
1890, there were 14 or 15, you'll have to check the book, I may be off one, that founded the Harvard Club. Actually, they graduated from Harvard, came down there, they bought the land, they paid $5,000 each. And they also had a schooner built out of Jacksonville for the shallow draft. But the club ran until about 1950 some odd. And I actually have the logbook, the second logbook of the club, and you would see interesting things like the marsh blind, bear seen on beach. We killed 6 widgeon or 3 geese today from X blind. Another interesting aspect was strawberries. It was a decadent life. These were not poor people, believe me. Back then, strawberries were very, very expensive. 50 cents for serving. A cocktail, a libation or whatever, 15 cents, if that gives you a parallel. And it was on par with the old clubs of Currituck, Cumberland Island, and I use this correlation. Jekyll Island, our most famous East Coast resort area, multimillionaires, etc. It was really a recreational area. And they came down to play, spend some time with their family and everything else. Hunting and fishing were a major part of it. Cumberland Island, the same way, which is right at the border of Florida and Georgia. If we go north to, say, Long Island, there were massive, huge clubs up there. Now let's take the correlation from the book and say to you, we had the same thing. I've had the privilege to hunt some old, famous hunting grounds with you. Mm-hmm. And actually, we were on some very famous waters today. Market hunting played a very major role in these clubs. It was the same type of entrepreneurial railroad barons, hotel barons that actually built those old clubs that, of course, most of them aren't around anymore. They burnt, they've been bought, floods, whatever, right here on the Central Flyway. Mm-hmm. So there's a correlation as we go from the coast all the way up, since we're...
So they're people enjoying the same sport in a different place, but it basically, if you're a duck hunter in New York State and you're a duck hunter in North Dakota, mm-hmm. you're the same guy.
Same guy.
Now, talking about the great stories that happened out on the Atlantic coast, we're going to talk about a great story with my buddy over here, Buana, about some of the great hunts we've had in North Dakota. And you've shot, we were talking about that today, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of snow geese.
We kind of specialized in snow geese. It was just something that we had a lot of birds in the general area. They came down every year, and we had a lot of people. We just started doing guiding, kind of on a part-time thing, and it just grew into a monster of a deal. We had a tremendous amount of snow geese that would come down through the area, and we kind of specialized in that. Mm-hmm. And in fact, one year somebody had kept track, and they said we shot 1% of the total geese killed in the Central Flyway that year were shot at our lot.
That's substantial.
And it was a big amount, and it was a great thing, and unfortunately they just stopped short in Canada, and our snow goose just aren't there anymore.
So the hunting of snow geese is kind of, it's a history.
Over with. And
it's history.
Maybe it'll be back in 20 years, maybe it'll never be back, but some of the guys got to see something that a lot of people in this world will never see in their lifetime.
Yeah.
So what we did after that is, rather than just hang it up, I was a little too young to do that, is we started specializing in ducks. And that's kind of when you got up there, you got into some of the
We
duck
got in
hunting
some
that
great
was,
duck shooting.
I mean, it was amazing. You could sit there and watch flocks of 300, 400, 500 ducks come, and they would come for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, there was never a break. It was flock after flock after flock. And
Where, I got to ask you a question. Where were they at today?
the ducks?
Yeah.
My best guess is somewhere in North Dakota. Because they sure were down here.
I'm going to tell you what, I haven't seen a duck in about 3 days. We saw a couple way out in the distance, but we're going to show you some video that we shot back in 2003 up in north of Minot, what, 40
Actually,
miles?
north of Minot, we ended up buying the school closed, and I bought the school in a little town of Max Bass.
Max Bass,
There's
yeah.
probably a population of 90 people.
On a good day.
On a good day,
Yeah.
A couple of girls would come in. On most days, it was about 88. But we took the school and remodeled it and used it as a hunting lodge. And Harry come up there and was able to stay. It was a big building. It was 24,000 square
we played
feet.
basketball and it was
You
nice.
played basketball. We had the gym. We just had about everything.
Yeah, it was a
And
good time.
if you want a couple seconds, I told Harry when I was in high school, I hated science. I flunked it every year I took it. When I bought the school, the first thing I did was I took the science room out and put a bar in there. There was absolutely no science room. My school did not have a science room.
Hey, now we're going to take a look. Since we didn't kill nothing or shoot anything on our adventurous, like Tom and Huck said, it was an adventure. Believe me, it was. But we didn't do worth a hoot. But here's what it looks like when you get to shoot some ducks.
Holy cow. Look.
Light right there, Richard.
Oh.
Right there, right on top of them. Look right in front of you. We got ducks.
I think that duck just did something on me.
Harry, look at this. Oh, we got it on film, buddy. Look it over, Pete. Look at there. Isn't that beautiful? It doesn't get any prettier than that. Oh my goodness.
Here, I got that on filming, Harry.
Oh, look at that. That is so pretty.
We see our ducks, and our ducks can come through and not even land. You know you're going to get the ducks here, but our ducks might come through. We'll see them flying over and they head south. But here,
Now look at these.
we're putting these ducks to bed.
No, wait. Now follow it.
Harry, look,
Here they are.
look, Harry. Oh my God.
Here's where they're coming from.
Harry, look at this.
Look at this.
Look at this.
Yeah,
There's thousands coming
Look at
in.
this. Look at this. Way back here.
Oh, look at them, Harry.
All the way back.
Harry,
Where do they
I
come
can
from?
recognize a few of those from this morning.
You can.
Yeah.
Look at the ducks boiling in. Wow.
As you can see, I didn't scare them very much. Most of the shots we made were, we killed them this morning. We didn't wound
See, if
anything.
you take binoculars and just look up into that sky.
But 80
area,
degrees,
you'll see 5, 6,
15
8.
miles from the Canadian border up here in North Dakota
there's
with the
another
senior
flock coming
Gosling.
in.
He's putting us on the ducks.
See that one way back up there?
They're all on the ground. Look at this black out there like
more coming.
carpet.
Look, here's another flight coming in.
Chicagoland Fishing, Travel, and Outdoor Expo, January 29th through February 1st at Schaumburg Convention Center in Schaumburg.
Hi, I'm Dave Barth with your Sportsman's Tip of the Week. Concealed carry has finally passed, so now's the time to decide if you want a semi-automatic or revolver. And here's some examples of some semi-automatics. Here's a Kimber 1911 Ultra Carry. If you want something a little smaller, we have a Ruger LC9. Jump up to the Car 9mm here, a little smaller. A Car 380 and a Taurus 380. Here's a Smith & Wesson. It's a model 637. It has a concealed hammer. It's a performance center gun. It has a nice action. Right below that, we have a 642 with a concealed hammer. And then in the Taurus line, a 38 Special with a concealed hammer. Right below that is a 22 Ultra Lightweight. And for the lady in your life, we have a Smith & Wesson 637 stainless steel with pink grips. To go along with concealed carry, you need some type of a holster. Here is a fanny pack. It comes with the waist strap. We have a standard belt holster in Cordura nylon, a pancake holster in leather. Inside the pant holsters are a nice choice. It conceals the pistol pretty well. They make shoulder holsters and ankle holsters. Any of those holsters would be a fine choice depending on how you'd like to carry your pistol. I'm Dave Barth with your Sportsman's Tip of the Week.
Adventure Sports Outdoors, brought to you in part by Corsaw Lumber, manufacturers of quality hardwood products, buyers of standing timber in Smithfield. Central Pool Supply, everything from pools to pool tables and much more in Peoria on West Pioneer Parkway. Michael O'Brien Commercial Real Estate and Recreational Ground, Remax Unlimited Commercial. Kelleher's Irish Pub and Eatery, located on Peoria's riverfront, open 11 a.m. daily. And by Allwyn & Sons Meat Company. Our thanks to all of these sponsors.
Thanks for watching another edition of Adventure Sports Outdoors. We had a very unsuccessful duck hunt. We almost froze to death, but we had just really a great time. And you know, it's not about the thrill of the kill. It's about being with your friends and enjoying their company, the camaraderie, the food, and all the things that go around a adventure like we had the last couple days. And I want to thank Tom and my good buddy Buana, Pete Wrestler, for coming down from North Dakota, and Tom from coming up from Jacksonville. We had a great time, and you should have a great time too. Hey, we'll see you next month.